You have been growing sunflowers wrong your whole life. And before you say no, I have not, hear me out, because even the most experienced gardeners I know had no idea about the things I am going to share with you today. And the funny part is, most of it has been right in front of you all along. Now I know what you are thinking. It is just a sunflower. Big yellow petals, tall green stalk. A head full of seeds that the birds love. Simple. Cheerful. Easy. And honestly, that is what most people think. But today, by the time this video is done, you will never look at a sunflower the same way again. So grab your tea or your coffee, sit back and let me walk you through the real truth about sunflowers, the good, the surprising, the sneaky, and the absolutely brilliant. Sunflowers do not actually follow the sun. People say sunflowers follow the sun. They call it heliotropism. Sun in the morning on the east side, sun in the afternoon on the west, and the flower turns its head all day long chasing that light. It sounds poetic. It sounds true. But here is what nobody tells you. Young sunflowers do follow the sun. When the plant is still growing, still pushing itself upward, the stem does move. It tracks the light from east to west during the day. And at night, while everything is quiet and the garden is resting, it turns itself back to face east, ready for the morning sun all over again. That part is real. But the moment that sunflower reaches maturity, the moment the big bright head opens up fully and becomes the flower you see on every greeting card and gardening calendar, it stops moving. It locks. And do you know which direction it locks facing? East. Always east. So your fully bloomed sunflower is permanently looking toward where the sun rises in the morning. This actually has a very clever purpose. A face pointed east catches the warmth of the morning sun, and that warmth heats up the flower head. Bees love a warm flower. Warm flowers attract pollinators earlier in the day. So the sunflower is not being stubborn when it stops turning. It is being strategic. Now, why does this matter to you as a gardener? Because it means if you plant sunflowers along a western or northern wall, thinking they will turn toward your garden beds, they will not. They will face where the morning light comes from. So plan your planting position based on where you want them to look when they are fully grown, not just while they are young. For those of us who love to sit outside in the morning with a cup of something warm and look at the garden, this is actually a gift. Plant them to your east and every morning they greet you face first. Sunflowers are quiet assassins in your garden. Sunflowers produce a natural chemical. It comes out through their roots, their leaves, their stalks, and even from the hulls of their seeds when they fall to the ground. This chemical seeps into the soil around them, and it sends a very clear message to the nearby plants. That message is, you cannot grow here. Scientists call this allelopathy. It is a plant defense system. The sunflower is not doing it out of meanness. It is doing it because it wants the space, the water, and the nutrients for itself. Very smart, actually. But not great news if you have planted your sunflowers right next to your tomatoes, your beans, or your potatoes. Have you ever noticed that the soil right under where a sunflower stood last season seems a little reluctant to grow things? That is exactly why. The chemical residue stays in the soil even after the sunflower is gone. That is why experienced gardeners rotate sunflower spots every year. Not just for soil health, but to avoid leaving that invisible garden ghost behind. The good news is that some plants are completely unbothered by this chemical. Cucumbers seem to grow just fine near sunflowers. Corn does well. And squash holds its ground without complaint. So if you love companion planting, those are your friends to keep close to your sunflowers. Keep your tomatoes, your peppers, and your climbing beans well away. Give them their own corner, and your whole garden will thank you for it. Sunflowers can heal the soil beneath your feet. In 1994, something remarkable happened near Chernobyl in Ukraine, where one of the worst nuclear disasters in history had left the soil contaminated with radioactive material. Scientists planted sunflowers in the contaminated water and soil around the disaster site. And those sunflowers did something that shocked the scientific community. They pulled the radioactive particles out of the soil and stored them inside their own stems and roots. This process is called phytoremediation. It means using plants to clean up contaminated land. And sunflowers are one of the best plants on earth for doing exactly that. They absorb heavy metals, including lead and zinc, from damaged soil through their roots and store it all internally. Now you might be thinking, that sounds interesting, but I do not live near a nuclear site. Fair enough. But here is how this is relevant to your garden. If you have a patch of soil in your garden that just refuses to grow anything well, soil that looks tired or gray or compacted, planting a season of sunflowers there and then removing the whole plant including the roots can genuinely improve what that soil is capable of in the following year. For older gardeners who have worked the same land for many years, this is a wonderful low-effort way to give a problem patch a kind of reset without digging, without expensive products, without heavy lifting. You plant, you let them grow, you remove them fully at the end of the season, and you come back to a patch that has genuinely changed. One important note: do not compost sunflower plants that you have used for soil cleaning. Because they have absorbed what was in the soil, those plants carry it. Remove them completely from the garden and dispose of them separately. Almost the entire sunflower is useful. Most people think of sunflowers as a seed crop. You grow them, the birds eat the seeds, or you harvest them yourself and roast them with a little salt. But the sunflower is one of the most generous plants you can put in a garden, because it gives you so much more than seeds. The petals are edible. They are mild and slightly nutty, and they are absolutely beautiful scattered over a salad or stirred into a summer soup. If you have grandchildren visiting, they will love pulling petals to top their food. It turns something simple into something that looks like it came from a fancy restaurant. The young leaves, before the plant gets tall and tough, can be cooked like greens. They have been used in folk cooking for generations in parts of Eastern Europe and the Americas. Lightly steamed or sautéed in butter, they are gentle and filling. The stalk, once dried, can be used as a natural steak in your garden the following year. The dried pith inside the stalk is extraordinarily light and was historically used as a material in life preservers. Not something most gardeners know. And the root system, while not edible in common sunflower varieties, acts as a natural aerator. The deep roots break up compacted soil as they grow, and then when removed leave channels that allow air and water to penetrate more easily. This is free garden work done by the plant while it is alive. There is also the matter of the seeds themselves. Beyond eating them, you can press sunflower seeds for oil. You can use them as bird feed to attract specific birds to your garden through winter. You can save them and replant them the following spring. A single large sunflower head can hold between 1,000 and 2,000 seeds. You plant one, you get back an extraordinary return. The head is not a single flower. Here is the one that makes people stop and stare. That big beautiful head you are looking at when a sunflower is in full bloom. The round disc in the middle surrounded by those bright yellow petals, that is not one flower. That is actually up to 2,000 tiny individual flowers packed tightly together. The yellow petals around the outside, those are actually individual ray flowers, each one its own separate bloom. They do not produce seeds, but they are there as a visual signal. The sunflower's way of waving a bright yellow flag to every passing bee and butterfly saying, "Over here, come this way." The dark center disc is made up of hundreds and hundreds of tiny tube-shaped flowers called disc flowers. Each one of those will be pollinated and become a seed. They open and bloom in a spiral pattern from the outside of the disc moving inward, and that spiral amazingly follows the Fibonacci sequence, the same mathematical pattern found in pine cones, snail shells, and the spiral of a galaxy. The next time you are sitting in your garden and a sunflower is blooming nearby, lean in close and look at that center. Really look. You are not looking at one flower. You are looking at a whole community of flowers working together. When you see it that way, honestly, it is hard not to feel a little moved by it. The right sunflower for gardeners over 60. Now here is where we get practical and personal. Because if you are over 60 and you love your garden, the last thing you need is a plant that demands enormous effort. And here is the honest truth that seed packets rarely tell you. Not all sunflowers are the same, and some are far better suited to the kind of gardening you actually want to do. The classic giant sunflower, the ones that grow 8 or 10 or even 12 feet tall, they are beautiful but they require staking. They can topple in wind and they can take over a bed completely. They are a lot to manage. If you have the space and the energy, wonderful. But if you want the joy of sunflowers without the wrestling match, there are better choices. Dwarf varieties like teddy bear sunflowers grow to about 2 feet tall. They are fluffy and golden and absolutely cheerful, and they fit beautifully in containers, raised beds, and smaller garden plots. They do not need staking. They do not bully their neighbors as aggressively as the giants do. And because they are shorter, they are much easier on your back when it comes to deadheading, watering, and harvesting. There are also multi-headed varieties that produce several smaller flowers on one plant, instead of a single dramatic bloom. These are wonderful for cutting and bringing indoors, and they have a much longer overall flowering period than single head types. More color for the same amount of work. For those of you with raised beds, which are a true blessing for anyone who finds bending uncomfortable, sunflowers grow beautifully in a raised setting. The drainage raised beds provide actually suits sunflowers very well, because one thing they genuinely do not like is sitting in waterlogged soil. On the topic of watering, mature sunflowers are one of the most drought-tolerant flowers you can grow. They do not need daily attention. Once established, they prefer deep but infrequent watering over a little water every day. This is a gift for anyone who may not be in the garden every single morning. You can go away for a few days, come back, and your sunflowers will be standing proud. One final practical note. Sunflowers are one of the easiest plants to grow from seed directly in the ground. No indoor starting needed, no fussing with seed trays. Wait until the last frost is behind you. Push the seeds about an inch into the soil, water once and step back. They germinate fast, usually within 7 to 10 days. And from there the plant does most of the work itself. What sunflowers really teach us. The sunflower is one of those plants that has been around humans for a very, very long time. Native Americans cultivated it for food, for oil, for medicine, and for dye over 3,000 years ago. The ancient Inca of South America worshipped it as a symbol of their sun god. It was carried across oceans and taken from continent to continent, because wherever it went, people could see its value. And here it is, still in our gardens today. Still feeding birds. Still stopping people in their tracks with that impossible yellow. Still healing damaged soil. Still holding thousands of tiny flowers in one perfect head. There is something about a plant that has been grown and loved by humans across thousands of years, on every continent, that deserves more than just a casual glance. It deserves exactly the kind of second look we gave it today. So the next time you walk past a sunflower in your garden or see one at the market, remember, it is not just following the sun. It is not just a bird feeder. It is a quiet healer, a clever strategist, a mathematical marvel, and a community of thousands of flowers all in one. And most importantly, it is one of the most generous, low-demand, high-reward plants you can ever choose for a garden that needs to work with you and not against you. If you learned something today, do me a favor and hit the like button. It truly helps more people find this channel. And if you are not subscribed yet, this is your gentle reminder to click that subscribe button and join this wonderful community of gardeners who just want to keep doing what they love, the right way through the years. I will see you in the next one. Happy growing, and as always, be gentle with yourself and your garden.